Working it down to 2 to 1. A deep three. Oh!
It's population.
That's how you win a game.
It's population. We hustle every day to find picks. You can tell us if you want to get rich. It's population. We rob an underdog and prize picks. We the best in this biz. You ain't telling us shit. It's population. We love making money quick, fast. Cooking up a team called the whole crew about to smash. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's catch. The dopest team you ever seen. Winning money, stacking G's. Boogie setting traps, but they'll never catch me. Some people get addicted like raps to the cheese. But I got one obligation to bring Johnny to his knees. Holding back the props till the morning he knows. They'll be fishing in the shack, plotting nukes with the pros. Only withdraw, never reload. Elevated to my amigos. We go with honest, we seeking the bloods. We know when a fucking cheat code. Party that I'm sweating, they can't beat for my health. Some may call it making bets, I call it investing in myself. I'm picking props like stocks. Population for the win. Got my sips in by the buzzer now. Let the games begin. It's population. It's population. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash.
All right, what is up, guys? Man, it's been a long time. Yeah, we just been super busy with the NBA season, with all these massive slates, and it's been hard to get on stream, but we're trying to make more time as the NBA season goes on, winds down, and now that we have a lot of other basketball going on across the world, especially with women's Australian basketball, men's Australian basketball, women's EuroLeague. So yeah, we're trying to cover it all, and those have been really fruitful. And since there's probably not a lot of content out there and stuff out research, we thought kind of break those games down, and they're single games usually each night, and I think it's good to go over that. People probably don't catch those games because they're real late at night, but yeah, hopefully we can provide some helpful content if you guys want to play some props later tonight when they drop. Usually drop later, probably after the last NBA game. So yeah, I thought we'd go over that, and maybe we'll share some of our favorite early NBA leans too at the end, because it's a massive NBA slate. We won't have time to break those down, but we can break down the one women's game. Aussie, how you doing, E?
Doing really well, man. It's a little cold here today. I think it's gonna be about a high of 12, so I'm just bundled up for the afternoon and ready
Got
for
a lot of
some
snow?
Yeah, man, it was like up to my ankles already.
Man, that sucks. Yeah, I mean, I really miss doing these live streams, so I'm glad to get some stuff in here. It's probably gonna be a short stream because we're only gonna break down really one game script, one game here with the women's Aussie. But yeah, thought we'd go over all the plays here and just catch up with everyone out there in the YouTube world. It's good to see some familiar names out here. We got Jay Smooth. What's up, Jay Smooth? Exit Screaming. Welcome back. I missed the live streams. Yeah, me too, man. Good to be back. I got underrated. And Kevin Sykes, what's up, man? And Jay, yeah, we're back. Yeah, oh yeah, the nuke day of WNBA for sure. I'll never forget that. We're really excited about WNBA, man. There's been so much. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up. There's been so much news going on, so many changes, trades, acquisitions. We're tracking it, and we are trust me, we are very excited for the season to start. We got early May is the start of the season.
2 months and 4 days, y'all.
2 months and 4 days. They'll be here before you know it. We got All-Star break coming up for NBA. And then, we got the latter portion of NBA where teams start to tank and start to take advantage of that and build up bankroll and get ready for the start of WNBA. So it all will come pretty fast before you know it. But yeah, let's talk about some Australian basketball. I mean, it's been a fun season, and I'm glad Prize Picks has added these props. As far as I know, there's no other sites that have it and books out there. So definitely nice having it on Price Picks, and you can find some edge because of that. It's without having bookies, a lot of lines out there or anything. So we track each game, we watch every game because there's not many of them. There's only 8 teams in the league, so it's very easy to track and follow. The only downside is that there's really no news on lineups, injuries, who's in, who's out. So we really work hard to kind of predict and track that information prior to the start of each game. But this game today, I think it's we don't have really any crazy pending news or injury to worry about. Both teams should be a full go. So I think the projected lineups I have up here should be pretty much solidified. So we can just go right ahead. I believe Perth is playing at home, but we'll have to double check that. But yeah, we have Adelaide Lightning playing Perth Lynx. So Adelaide Lightning are out of the playoffs. They are one of the bottom teams in the league. And they had, they went through some changes. One of their key scorers left the team, and her name was Belle. She's on the Aces WNBA. She's gone. They had some injuries, and so really it's just Stephanie Talbot out there leading the team. And if you're familiar, Talbot really helped Seattle Storm in that playoff run last year when they had injuries, and she stepped in. And she's doing her thing still in WNBL, and I'll show you. She does it all. Still has that high motor, real try-hard player. She racks up the stat line. So yeah, she's gonna continue to carry the team on her back. And all the players around her are just, man, they're bad, and that's why they're bottom in the league. Laura Mansfield really struggles to score. Really can only score from outside with a 3-point shot. She's a really undersized guard. And then they got an old big in Monroe. She moves really slow, and as the season's gone on, her scoring and energy has just gone way down. But she can be productive at times in certain matchups. And then Borlase is their rookie, very young, 18 years old. I believe she's the youngest player in the WNBL. She shows upside at times, and she's really probably the one out of everyone on the team has the most to play for with scouts out there, because she's trying to find a home somewhere once this season ends in 3 weeks. So whether that's WNBA or some Euro team, somewhere she needs to land a spot. And yeah, so she's very young, so she's going to be highly motivated. And she has been getting it done scoring-wise since Belle has left, but she's a young rookie, so it's hard to trust her at times. But the Perth, on the other hand, they are fighting for a playoff spot. They are, I believe, neck and neck with the last play-in spot, and they need to keep winning out. And they're a pretty solid overall team. They have Sammy Whitcomb, who we know recently signed. Where does she go to now? She's at she left.
Man, where did she go?
Did she go to New York? No.
She went to Seattle.
Seattle, that's right. Okay. Yeah, she carries the team at times. She will black hole and dominate usage at times. But her, it's Sammy. Her shooting is very streaky. She's either her 3 balls fallen or she's missing everything. But yeah, we'll get to that in more detail when we break each team down. But yeah, and then Amy Atwell, she's also a WNBA player. She's a solid player, but she falls behind Sammy in usage, and Robbie Ryan as well, who's kind of stepped in as a real ball dominant point guard on the team. And then Lauren Scherf, who we call her Big Scherf, one of the biggest players in the league, who kind of plays like Jokic, where she will play make, rebound, and score and do it all. So yeah, Perth, they're on a 3-game winning streak. Like I said, they need to keep winning. So this is a big game for them. So Adelaide has something to play for, but we saw their last game, they played with a lot of heart still, even though they were out of the playoff hunt. They went out there and gave it all. So I still think they'll do the same today. I don't see what would change. I think they're going to keep playing hard, finish out the season, and try to play spoiler. So
yeah. And the Lightning are at home tonight.
The Lightning are at home. Okay, that's good to know. I guess Perth, they really get up for their home game. So, okay. It's only a 5.5 spread in favor of Perth. Last time these two teams played, it was pretty low scoring. I believe the Lightning only put up around 70 points, 72 points. It was 82 to 72. They really struggled. We can go through. Let's start with the Lightning home team. So Borlase had 2 points. She went 1-9 from the field. Again, just being that young player, she can just be very inconsistent. But this is earlier on in the season. She's really starting to come into form and playing with more confidence towards this end of the season. So, and then Monroe, man, she had like a season high in field goal attempts, 22. And she finished with 23 points as a result, and 10 rebounds and 1 assist. But again, this was early in the season, and as the season's gone on, she is. It looks like she's out there running in quicksand or can barely move. So, at times you want to. I mean, her lines can be low, and you want to click on her, but just know, yeah, she's old and slow out there. And then Mansfield, like I said, majority of her shot volumes coming from the 3-ball. She took 9 threes, made 3 of them, finished with 11 points, and 3 rebounds and 5 assists. And then Talbot did her usual thing. She usually scores around 10 to 15 points, and then she had 10 rebounds and 8 assists. So let's go back to their season averages. Stephanie's sitting right around 14 points. A lot of times she plays passive on the offensive side and will try to set up others. But the last game we just saw against UC Capitals, who's the worst team in the league, she just went absolutely nuclear and just attacked the basket nonstop. So let's see what her point props. All these props I have up here are projected lines based on what they've been in the past recently, what's been given to us. And Talbot usually sits around that 13.5 point line. And it's risky with that because, like I said, sometimes her shot's not falling, especially her 3-ball. She's been pretty inconsistent from 3. But when she's attacking the basket nonstop, like she did in that last game, she can clear that point prop. Now, recently, PrizePicks added individual prop lines with assist and rebound, and I suspect that they'll definitely give it for Talbot. They've been giving it for key players, and Talbot being one who fills up the stat line and does it all for this team. So she's averaging a 4.7 assists. So I think her assists will probably be around 5 or 5.5. You can definitely consider that. And then I'm really interested in her rebounding with Bell out and her just having to pick up the rebounding, and Monroe just kind of, like I said, being very slow and running out of energy. She's Talbot's averaging almost 8 rebounds per game on the season. It would be really nice if we get her rebound line at 7.5, but I suspect it's going to be around 8, especially since she had 10 rebounds against the same team. So I would keep an eye out for that. I think it would be great value, anything less than 8, if you wanted to go for a low individual stat line, because her PRA usually sits around 28.5. So that's a sweat because you need her to have a peak performance in all these stat lines. But if you're going to take it, I mean, she's, like I said, the one that filled the stat line. So you could also consider that if we don't get good value with the individual lines. And then Mansfield, I can just never trust. And you're totally relying on the 3-ball. And then, Borlase and Monroe, they're always the wild card. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on any of them, including, Talbot, Mansfield, all these? We're probably just going to get these 4 players because Chelsea Brook has recently filled in at the starting lineup. Her and Whittle have been kind of interchanging out of the starting lineup, but I doubt we get their props.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on the Talbot call. She does everything, and I'm going to be very keen in and looking out for that rebound prop, like you said. Maybe PrizePicks will mess up on this one, and we get it kind of an opening low line here, but not holding my breath for that. I think anything at 8 and below is probably going to be in play, and anything above that or closer to locks, if they start bumping again, we'll have to kind of revisit and see what they left us.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully Brooke starts again. She's like a traditional guard, and she doesn't really rebound. So if Whittle gets a start over her, Whittle can kind of eat into rebounding. But if it's Brooke out there and it's just Talbot and Mansfield, Borlase, and the old Monroe, it's Talbot's gonna have to get all the rebounding done. So definitely like that. But yeah, and then Monroe, let's see what her lines are. I imagine it's gonna be around 11.5 points. She's averaging almost 7 rebounds, so it's probably gonna be around 6.5 rebound, and then she's always around 19.5 or 20.5 PRA, but she gets in foul trouble at times. Foul trouble is a big concern Aussie ball because it's 5 fouls and you're done. So if a player picks up 2 early fouls, they're going to lose out on huge minutes in the first half. If they pick up 3 fouls even by the third quarter, they're going to lose out on huge minutes. A lot of times they won't come back till the fourth quarter, and so they miss out on pretty much a whole quarter stint. So keep that in mind when you're targeting players in Australian and Euroball. It's always 5 fouls, so make sure the player does not have a high propensity to foul. These refs will call fouls, we've seen at a very high rate at times. So hopefully Lightning being the home team, maybe they get a little bit more calls, but it seems pretty random. It seems like the refs don't really care who's home and who's away. They'll just call things, and they call some pretty bad fouls. And these players will make reckless fouls as well. So keep that in mind. And it can even be an advantage if you want to take some unders. But yeah, these teams have only played one time this season, which is kind of rare because most of these teams by this point of the season, with only 3 weeks left, they've all played each other around 2 or 3 times already. So, but yeah, they only played one time, and Monroe was very successful, as you saw. So I wonder if they go back to feeding her since it worked so well, and they were obviously feeding her that game. She took 22 shots. So if the point line is less than 12, maybe you could take it and hope that she's efficient and they actually do feed her. So that's something you can consider. Do you have any other thoughts on the Lightning, the home team?
Not too many. Like you said, they're really hard to trust in some of these kind of game-to-game situations. Monroe is definitely interesting. I feel like we're kind of hitting that crossing point of how her regression has kind of finally started to set in a little bit, and how Scherf is just, was going through that cold streak there for a couple games, and now she's stepped forward in a huge way this last time. So we could see, revert or flip the script from their first game if Monroe can't keep her hands to herself, and Scherf's going to be playing huge minutes like we kind of expect her to.
Right.
But the Lightning, they are at home, and for a team that's still on the bottom of the bracket, and they've always got heart, and I think being at home tonight, they'll probably try and really put in that effort for the home crowd. So
yeah,
we'll get a good game here. We just need at least those 2 players. I can't trust Mansfield like at all.
No.
And Borlise is interesting. I feel like if her points are over 13, I can't do it.
Right.
She's kind of in this Steph Reed situation that we had last night. I want to give her the benefit, but if it's over 13, I can't do it.
No, yeah, she always gets right there at 10 or 12 points, and just sometimes she can get over that hump if she's get some fast break plays, because she really, a lot of her plays are pushing the pacing on fast break or cuts to the basket. She gets driving layups. So yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it would be amazing if it was from any reason back down to 12.5 where she normally is, but since she's been playing much more efficient and aggressive, it's been up to 13.5. So I think I'll probably stay around there, but it's definitely in consideration. She's a young player at home, so she's probably going to play a little bit more loose and comfortable. So you can always take that in consideration, but it's know the risk with young players who can struggle to find their outside shot, but she's very effective at driving to the basket and cutting. So
yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the visiting team. Let's go to Perth. So in that matchup, we had a big game from good old Bibby. Now this is Bibby pre-COVID, earlier in the season. So if you don't know, Bibby, her point line was always around 18.5, and it's because she had such massive scoring upside. And then she got COVID later in the season, and then when she came back, she was never the same. They eased her into the game. She was coming off the bench, and she was a normal starter playing 35 plus minutes. And then now in her most recent game, she finally made it back into the starting lineup, but she still didn't clear her, 15.5 point line.
Yeah.
So yeah, her point prop has just continuously gone down. It was like 18.5, 17.5, it went down to 15.5, and she didn't clear the 15.5 in the most recent game. So I suspect it's going to go all the way down to 14.5. That's going to be a sweat for the under if it's 14.5. I mean, she's been an under money well for us because how inefficient she's been, especially since she was coming off the bench after COVID. But as the weeks go on, days go on, she might be building up more stamina and getting back to herself. 14.5 will be very, very scary under, especially since the Lightning allow the third most points per game overall. So pretty soft defense. And you can see here in that last meeting, she dropped 25 points on them. So we'll have to see what the point line is. If it's 15.5 for any reason, or 16.5, I mean, you could always consider that. But man, when you start getting less than 15 for Bibby, it's going to be a sweat. But she is on a team with very ball dominant players like Sammy Whitcomb and Robbie Ryan and Scherf. So can always take that in consideration. And then, yeah, I mean, all these other players outside of the main starting two of Scherf and Whitcomb with Atwell and Robbie Ryan, I think they take a major hit with when they're fully healthy. Now, Robbie was not traditionally starting, and now she's earned a starting role, and man, does she just become a black hole and eating up usage. And it's kind of taking a hit on Sammy, because Sammy traditionally was the starting point guard, but now they start Robbie alongside her. So what are your thoughts on Sammy? She's very hard to predict and call, for all the reasons I just said with Robbie now starting, but also just her inconsistencies on her shooting. But she will try to carry the team.
Yeah, Robbie's really been something else to watch for this team. Like her progression, honestly, throughout the season has been pretty awesome for her future.
I
But
hope
also,
we get props for her. I mean, you never know. We might. First time we haven't
yeah,
had her.
yeah, that'd be awesome. And I think that she would definitely be something that would be an opportunity to kind of piece together with some cards if they did give us the props. Because she's going to have very limited data to go off of. But as you mentioned, with her being in the starting unit, it really seems like they have this like fluid chemistry between her and Whitcomb of like basically whoever gets to rebound starts to run the play, and it's not even like the same person every time. And we'll see whenever the team starts slipping a little bit. Sammy obviously is going to try and take over between her and Scherf, try and run the pick and roll or try and hit a couple open threes, but her shooting's been a little touch and go lately. She's been kind of on and off with a few injuries. Was she injured or she had an illness or something a little while back?
Bibby?
Wickham.
Oh, back injury. Yeah, she's dealing.
Yeah.
She's an old vet. The season wore on her towards the end of the season. She had a back injury, sat out a game.
That's right. Yeah.
Came back. Yeah.
Yeah, and being surrounded by all these young bucks, because this team is extremely young. Besides, basically Atwell and Whitcomb, and all the bench pieces are really fired up to play. So I think we're going to get a good game here. I'm kind of expecting more around the like 75 to 80 marker for both teams again. With the Lightning being at home, probably can keep it a little bit closer this time. Bibby, honestly, I don't know what to do with her yet. She really scared us last game because she started off so hot, and then thankfully Scherf took over and Sammy kind of started doing her thing. So this could be one of those stay away days, or if they give us, one of her secondary props that she probably couldn't get an over on, we could consider that. But her back in the starting unit definitely scared us, and I think we were sweating that real hard last time because we didn't expect that.
Yeah. I mean, it was eventually going to come. It was inevitable as the weeks went on and she got more stamina. But yeah, you don't know with her. I will say she is a true wing and D. Like she does not create her own shot. She will go pass it off and to Sammy or Robbie, and they will, ball handle, like you said, do everything, and she'll just immediately go off to the corner and wait for open 3-point shot, or she'll get an offensive rebound putback or something like that, because she can rebound at times pretty well. So yeah, she's not out there creating her own shot. She's not a slasher. She's not anything like the natural scorer like that. So she is a traditional wing shooter. So if the ball is not rotating to her, which it hasn't been, because of Robbie and Sammy and Scherf, then yeah, she just falls to the wayside. But if she gets hot, they're going to keep feeding her because she can get hot in a flurry.
Yeah, 100%. I could see, the Lynx here trying to attack on the perimeter fairly often this game, and that probably being somewhat of a struggle for the Lightning. All their perimeter defenders are really short. I mean, for the most part,
Yep.
You've got average to below average size players here. I think we'll probably end up seeing Talbot on Scherf for the most part again, right? Or do you think we're going to have Monroe trying to cover her?
I think it's going to have to be Monroe. Yeah. Well, especially when Scherf's in the low post. Yeah. I think
that's true.
I think Talbot will see a lot of Sammy. Although in the last meeting, Sammy was on Borlace a lot and just completely shut her down. A big reason why Borlace went 1-9. So forgot to mention that. Glad you brought that up. So that's something else. I don't think it's going to be the entire time Sammy's going to be on her, but I think Sammy will probably switch between guarding Talbot and Borlace. But yeah, Sammy is a very decent defender and can hold her own. So something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Atwell is a good defender too. And that's why the Perth overall in the season, they allowed the least amount of points against them. They allow, 8th least. So, yeah, and it's because of the definitely that perimeter defense of Sammy and Atwell, and Bibby can hold her own in the mid post too. So,
So we'll definitely have to look out for some of these lines. I think you and I always love Scherf. Her PRE's always been live. The scoring can be a little up and down, but now that we do have those standalone secondary props, I think honestly the rebound or the assist could be very much in play today.
Yeah, I agree. Just got to see what it is. I think if the assists are on less than 6, it's live, and then if the rebound's less than 11.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And her points. So her points last game, because she went through a little shooting slump. Her points last game, they were set at 13.5, which is just crazy low for her. Because her shot volume is so high and she's so involved in the offense. I think they're going to bump it back up to 14.5. We'll see. If not, if they open it back at 13.5, definitely like the value on that. So I think I think we definitely want exposure to Scherf. I'm with you in this matchup. The Lightning, if all season, have been a team we attack in the paint. They give up the most points in the paint. They can't stop anything in the paint. And yeah, some of the players that get all their scoring down the paint have had some of their biggest games in the season against the Lightning. So let's watch out for her point prop, her rebound prop, assists, all of it, and just see where we can find the best value. But I think right now, if the lines are less around what I have predicted here, I think they're all in play. One thing I want to point out, I think we're probably going to get a rebound prop for either Atwell or Wickham here. They usually been giving about 2 rebound props per team. I think both are intriguing. Atwell is a very, very solid rebounding guard. And she really goes hard on the glass. In the last meeting, she had 8 rebounds. Yeah, 8 rebounds, all defensive. So I think that's definitely live, especially if it's less than 6. She averages right at almost 5. So I would look out for that. Sammy is a little bit more consistent on her rebounding, but man, when she goes try hard mode, she really goes after the ball and to get it and set the offense. But again, you have to worry about Robbie too, trying to get the ball and set the offense, and they'll defer rebounds to Robbie at times too. So little less consistent than I feel like Atwell's rebounding. How do you feel about any of those? And then would you consider any assist props outside of Scherf, or just we would stick with Scherf's assist here?
Yeah, Scherf will definitely be, I think, my 1A or clear standalone 1 assist prop, depending on the line. Sammy's interesting. I get the feeling they'll probably open her at 4.5, and they seem to be
That would
kind
be
of,
great.
yeah. I think that would still have consideration. I'll be curious to see if they actually do bumps before locks again, because they've been kind of, dialing in a little bit closer to locks lately. Sammy's rebounding, I'm right there with you. I don't think I can trust it enough to really tout for it. If she gets there, she gets there, but I think she's just more going to be her usual score, assist,
Yep.
defense, do her
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
And you mentioned, Ryan. She's really been a thorn for some of these rebounding categories. Like
Yeah.
her inside the paint, even though she's so short, her ball awareness and being able to create space for herself is incredible. Like she's probably one of the best that I've seen at it for her
Yeah.
size.
Yep.
So I would love to get a rebound prop for her. Like that would be an absolute smash.
Yeah, definitely look out for that for her props, because she's been such, like you said, key part of the team. Look out, let's just say look out for. And then Scherf, yeah, I'm gonna put what we want the lines to be. Assists, we want assists less than 6, and the rebounds less than 11.
Yeah.
So that's what we like. And then Talbot, probably what her rebounds if it's less than 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then her points, if it still stays around 13.5, it can always be in play. And then I think if her PRA is around 27.5, if they drop it for whatever reason, I think that definitely in play. And then we'll have to see what her assists are at. And then let's say if Scherf's rebounds are too high, let's look out for Outwell's rebounds. I definitely think it's in play if it's at 5.5.
Yeah, I'm really hoping we get hers. I get the feeling we're just gonna get Whitcomb and that's it. But they've been a little more lenient with the rebounding. Like the assist prop, I think we'll get pretty strict for that. But the rebounding, they've been a little bit more laxed on.
Okay, and I mean, whenever Sammy's back in the lineup and they're fully healthy, we've always considered Atwell under points, because she just takes a huge hit, and especially when Bibby is back in the starting lineup, shot volume wise. But this, the Lightning's defense is so bad that it's just risky. If she gets hot, and it just going back to this whole thing with Bibby too. We'll have to see what her point prop opens at. I imagine it opens at its usual 12.5. But yeah, she had 14 points in the last meeting, shot 10 times, went 6 to 10. So yeah, like I said, the Lightning defense is pretty bad. So be careful with the unders on who you choose. So anything else for Perth?
Not offhand right now. I think we'll just kind of wait and see what these lines open at.
Yeah, and I'll put for Adelaide. I'll put an honorable mention for Monroe's if her points are less than 12. And then if her rebound is, if it's at 6.5 or 6, you could definitely consider it. But she really struggles to rebound at times. But a lot of her rebounding comes from offense on the offensive glass, and you see she had 6 offensive rebounds in that meeting. So yeah, see what it's at. I think it'll be 6.5. You can put more fringe material filler piece. And then the men's Aussie. You've been watching that, and we're in the playoffs there. Do you have any early leans on that game tonight between the Jack Jumpers and the Breakers?
Honestly, did they take it down? Man, we had a PRA for Barry Brown. I think they took it down.
They might repost it at a different line.
Yeah, I had interest definitely there. He's just, plays hefty amount of minutes, does it all kind of guy. He looked really good this last game, and still can't trust Will White. That guy's been just a boat ride and a half, just up down every game.
Yeah. Well, for those that don't know, Barry Brown is third in the league in scoring. He's the top 3 scorer. But he comes off the bench, but he still plays like starter minutes, and he's the 6th man of the year in the league this year, kind of like a Tyler Hero of last year. So yeah, I mean his point prop is usually around 17.5, close to 18.5. So 16.5 is not bad value still.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind the points. This is going to be a do or die game. I'm not 100% sure on who's the home team tonight. Still got to do a little bit of homework for that. But the Jack Jumpers have been playing pretty good ball lately. They definitely solidified. I think they were at the number 2 seed going into the playoffs. But these two teams really get up for this game. Some of the rebound props, obviously, we can't trust those a whole lot. It's so fluid from game to game. They had a few interesting assist props. Doyle, I feel like you're really rolling the dice on if he's going score mode or if he's passing for the night.
Yeah.
We saw that last game. Thankfully, I hedged for it because he kind of fell right in the middle. He went right over his assist, but fell just short of his points.
You can always consider his PRA for that reason, because he will grab boards too.
Yeah, so I don't mind that. He's under 26, 25 and a half is not bad. Good pace here. Just need these guys to stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah, no, it's a great pace. Breakers definitely play at a fast pace. No, I'm with you on that. I think I love Doyle. He's been a player who targeted all season long. And yeah, I totally get the assist. He will dribble down and look to set up others first and foremost. So I'm with you on the assist and then probably the PRA. Just get exposure to both of those. What's your thoughts on Rashard Kelly? We've gone under his points a lot. Pardon is a pretty solid defender in the paint. Could give him problems here. And Kelly really struggles with his outside shot. Do you have any? Looks like they bumped it down from 12.5 to 12.
Yeah, he was a pretty fruitful under for his points this last game. He definitely scared me because I think he ended with like 9 or 10, like he was actually putting up points. But it's going to be a tougher matchup for him. 12 flat, that's a little in the push range, but I think you could probably still go back just because of how far back in the offense he is. I mean, if he's not getting these offensive rebounds or foul calls to go to the line, his scoring's been so low for the season. They did unfortunately bump his rebounds. I'm super mad about that because that was 4.5 last game and it's 6.5 now. So I'm probably not going to go back to that.
Okay. Yeah, I guess for Barry, I'll just put his points for now, but look out for his PRA when it comes back.
Yeah, hopefully they give that back.
And then Brantley, man, he's so hard to predict. He's a very streaky shooter. Either he's on fire and getting it all done, or he's ice cold from outside. But he is a slasher, and he will drive to the bucket when his outside shot's not falling. But it's always a risk when they're healthy and Brown's playing his normal full minutes. Do you have any leans on him? They have a 3-point prop for him. Like I said, he's not the best 3-point shooter, but he will definitely take some corner threes and whenever he gets the opportunity.
Yeah, his 3-point prop is definitely interesting. I mean, just for the low bar, but as you mentioned, low volume there as well. He is interesting to say the least. He went through such a hot streak there for several games, and then here
Brown was out too for some of those games, right?
Yeah, that's true. Now with Brown out, it kind of seems like we're just trying to pick and choose between Brantley, Brown, and then sprinkles of Pardon in there. So you get kind of a mixed bag every night. I just can't trust. I can't trust him in this spot where I think the ball dominant players are just going to push it even further. Like we saw last night.
Yeah. I mean, if you're making multiple cards, I mean, it would totally make sense to play Brown's points in one and and Brantley points in the other, and just cover your bases that way. Because they're going to be the two main guys to get the scoring done for the Breakers.
Mhm.
One of them definitely should get it done. So probably the best way to cover the spread. Yeah. And then Jack McVay's he's very efficient when he's out there, but he just doesn't play that many minutes. Okay, I mean, I think they should add more props to the board or back to the board. This is pretty limited as of right now.
Yeah, they were holding out on some, I believe, last night. And usually they give us Jack's assists, but they didn't give us that this time. And they
Mhm.
really kind of keeping it stingy today.
Yeah, they might getting closer to lock add more stuff back. So let's keep an eye out. Did you have anything else, or you want to share some of your favorite couple of your favorite NBA leans?
Still got a little bit of homework to do on NBA, not gonna lie.
It's a massive slate for sure.
Yeah.
And it's we're coming up to All-Star break, right? So there's tomorrow's the last slate, I believe, before All-Star break.
Yes, today Wednesdays. Yeah, I think let me double check, see if there's a game on Friday.
I think some of the All-Star events start Friday.
Yep. So today and tomorrow we only have 3 games.
Okay. Yeah. So be careful today. Some guys, especially old vets, just kind of limp their way into the All-Star break, looking ahead when I get to the break, that week-long break, and not really thinking about the game today. While there's other guys out there that are trying to prove stuff still that maybe didn't make the All-Star team that was right on the fringe, or just young, hungry guys. So there's definitely some edge finding unders and overs. With that said, so I mean, some early leans you can always play BI going back to LA. We saw this game recently. He went off, started slow, but then just went completely off. And it's the Lakers. They're playing absolutely no defense right now. They even let Thibault put up almost 20 points. And I think CJ McCollum, I believe, is still questionable. He was out last game. If he's out, that's even better for Ingram. He's going to have all the usage in the world. So you can, if I would say CJ's out, you can just capture everything with his PRA, or if CJ's in, you can just go with his points. I think he's going to play highly motivated again against his old team, and he did not make the All-Stars. Obviously, he was out all season. And then Moneywell has been targeting traditional big centers against OKC with the unders. OKC surprisingly, all season, the beginning of the season, we were like, oh, bigs are going to crush OKC because they're undersized and they're going to just bleed rebounds and points. But lately, over the last 10 games, they're allowing the third least points to centers. And centers, traditional bigs, have really been struggling against them. And I think it's just the team defense they play in the paint, where they trap them, and with a lot of help defense, especially on the glass too, with boxing out. So it's making it really hard for bigs to score. They're getting a lot of attention. We saw J-Val, he stayed under his PRA less in their most recent matchup. And then Sengun struggled in his two most recent matchups against OKC with, like, I believe, around less than 20 PRA. So I think Sengun's PRA under, or his just straight up points under, are definitely in play. He got into foul trouble, I believe, in the most recent meeting. He only played, I want to say, like, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was low 20s.
So he finished with 15 PRA. A lot of bigs get in foul trouble against OKC because, one, you have the biggest foul magnet in the league besides Joel Embiid, SGA. This guy lives at the free throw line. So centers are just racking up fouls because he just drives to the lane and he knows how to position himself on the fadeaway and draw fouls. So that's the other reason. And then another reason is that they get charges called on them because these guys, OKC guys, are so undersized. They can draw the charge even more so by making it look even more obvious because they're so undersized. So I don't know how many times I see offensive charge when centers play them. So there's multiple ways for these bigs to get into foul trouble and also just hurt their production overall. So, yeah, I mean, maybe Sengun wakes up today and he has a good game. I mean, he's been struggling as of late, but he's had some tough matchups. He played Philly and he played Miami. Those are two tough teams to play in the paint. And then even in a favorable matchup against the Kings, he struggled in the first match meeting, and then he stepped up in the second one. But yeah, like I said, OKC recently he struggled, so definitely consider that. And then 3-point props, I'd like Let's go right back to Terry, right, against the Spurs. No defense here, fast pace shootout. He's gonna chuck it. They did have LaMelo at 3.5 as well. They took it down, but yeah, I think all the 3-point props for Charlotte are live. Also, it's interesting. We haven't had this prop in a while, but they have his block plus steal. I know it's a stock prop, but with how turnover prone Spurs are, because how young they are, you have rookies and Malachi and Sohan. Definitely could turn it over here to a scrappy Terry. So if you want a real low line to sweat, even more so than the 3-point prop, you can go with that. They haven't given this to us in a while for Terry, so
long time.
Yeah, and then Mark Williams is a great spot. You can take his fantasy, his PRA. Biggest problem with him has been his foul trouble. So, being a rookie, he's going to make some dumb fouls. So if he can just stay out of foul trouble, gosh, man, centers have just absolutely feasting against the Spurs since all season, but now even more so with Pirtle gone and Zach Collins starting at the 5. He's just not a good defender. So, and you have Roby down there too, who's an awful defender. Great spot for the rookie here. Just hopefully he doesn't lose out minutes, foul trouble, and Nick Richards in the bench. And then, how do you feel about, does Brunson finish the first half of the season strong on this heater? He's been absolutely torching it. Decent matchup. The Hawks have actually been pretty good on the perimeter, but as of late, their defense has just been really bad. Yeah, can he continue this massive heater and just basically a usage hog?
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. They've been really quick to change his lines back, though. I mean, he was just down to, I think, 22 points or like 21 and a half 2 weeks ago, or about a week and a half ago. And while he was going through, I wouldn't even say that cold streak, he was just coming back down to earth, a little more normal. But these last couple games, I mean, we've seen just absolute monster usage. I mean, completely dwarfing Randall out of his assist game that he was having for a long time this season. Like, that's completely gone now. He's basically just having the offense set between him and Randall, and every single play he's touching that ball right now. I think it's definitely possible. The pace up here, I definitely love for game total, game script. It's at the Garden. Trey's been talking a lot of crap lately, not like to anybody directly, but just if you watch his on-floor presence, he's been smack talking so much every single game after game lately. And he got it laid on him last game. So I think Brunson, he's been on a mission this entire season. He's been trying to prove something. He's going to put up as many possible shots as they let him today. Capello, not the greatest defender, but he at least is a good defender and has some size. So I don't think Randall will have, a cakewalk here, but on the outside, I mean, he's going to have between DeJounte and Young on him. That doesn't really scare me that much. So as long as the volume stays there, he's probably going to easily push 30 points again.
Yeah, I imagine it should be a shootout too, right? Hawks games tend to be shootouts, so. And,
100%.
And both are like fighting for positioning in the Eastern Conference. So I'm with you. Definitely take a stab in it. And then with Josh Hart in the mix, you can just consider under on RJ Barrett's PRA. He's taking a massive hit. He looks just like completely checked out. But this is a very low line for him at 25.5. If he catches fire against a pretty soft matchup for him with Fords going against the Hawks, it could hurt, but I just feel like Josh Hart is kind of eating into his overall PRA stat line. So something to consider there. Yeah, he just looked completely checked out against Brooklyn. And then I think a popular prop I want to hear your thoughts on before we get out of here. That the community is discussing in our Discord is Zach LaVine 5.5 free throws going against the foul happy Pacers, who are like top 3 in fouls, shooting fouls, and you don't have DeRozan. So it's even more ball handling for LaVine.
Oh, it's at the very top.
And they bumped it to 6. Okay, it was 5.5. So little less value now. Yeah, people are probably smashing it. But yeah, we've seen when DeRozan's out, he forces it even more so, and the Pacers are gonna foul. So
Stick to the process. And if DeRozan is out, I don't think Colby White.
He's confirmed out. He's confirmed now.
Okay. Colby White probably wouldn't mess with his free throw prop, but I mean, any of these other guys, these 0.5 props, that's pretty crazy and that's pretty bold for Prize Picks right now. Going against his team, Vooch probably a little lesser, but Ayo and Patrick Williams and even Drummond's been getting some more run lately.
Yeah, Drummond could. Oh man, coming off the bench going against Isaiah Jackson.
Yeah, I kind of
Miles
like
Turner
that.
is still questionable, so we'll just see on that. But man, he would absolutely just dominate Isaiah, oversize him, power him. Yeah, it's a good call. Yeah, low line, fun line to sweat there. All these are live. Yeah, I'm surprised they threw them all out here, trying to confuse you, set up some traps there. Yeah, it's a big slate. We got a lot to go through. These are just like some early leans thoughts we had. Cover kind of every basketball league possible in a matter of 30 minutes for you guys. So hopefully it was helpful. And if you didn't catch it live, have it all day to watch. But yeah, I think another one before we get out that we liked was Claxton under rebounds or PRA against the Heat. He's playing less minutes. And the Heat are allowing the least points in the paint. Tough to get rebounds on. And yeah, Brooklyn's basically doing a rebounding by committee where everyone's getting boards. Even Cameron Johnson is getting racking up boards. And yeah, Bridges and so on. So definitely think you can consider some unders again on Clax. His PRA went all the way down to 21.5. We took his under last game at 25.5. So it's low. It's down to 21.5. But like I said, the Heat are very, very stout in the paint, the best in the league. So, yeah, and Clax minutes. Did he even play in the fourth last game?
Barely.
Yeah, and Finney's really hurting his rebounding production as well. So, yeah, that's another line you can definitely consider. And the Heat front court is fully healthy. So, yeah. Got anything else or ready to head out and start breaking down the NBA slate?
Yeah, I'm ready to head out and go take the dogs for a walk, and I think we'll hop in voice chat and get it going.
All right, sounds good. If I missed anything, if you guys have any questions, what time should? Hey, appreciate that, Jay. Yeah, trust me, man. I wish I had all the time in the world between real life and breaking down content and building our favorite props and lists for the community. It's just been so hard to fit in the streams, but I promise when WNBA comes back, we will have a routine schedule for streams because that's something we have a process for, and they're very small slates every day, so we can bang those out quickly, and we are pretty efficient with those. But NBA, towards the end of the season, if we find some favorable small slates, we'll definitely try to cram some in. And then we're going to keep trying to do some of these Aussie streams because, yeah, they're one or two games. So, and like only 2 days a week. Yeah, and only 3 more weeks for it. So, yeah. And if you guys are watching this and you're not part of the community, definitely join our Discord. Awesome community. We have cover every sport out there: tennis, CSGO, basketball in every league, as you can see. Yeah, you name it. We're all the sports out there. We're working together as a community to find the best plays so we can win. And yeah, and look out for a stream next week. I think Wednesday Women's EuroLeague comes back. So we can try to cover some plays for that on Tuesday. Give some early leans because they usually drop those props pretty early, especially on Underdog. And Underdog, I want to mention we definitely shout out to them. They're sponsoring us, and if you're not part of Underdog, they've been awesome. They don't unfortunately have Australia basketball yet, but I hope they plan to in the near future. But they do have Women's EuroLeague and Men's EuroLeague. But yeah, if you're not part of them, definitely join them. We've been having a lot of success, especially since they've added second half props. They have rebounds, assists, individual stat lines for second half. So, but yeah, if you haven't joined Underdog, definitely use our promo code. It helps us out. It's just population. That's our promo code, and yeah, appreciate that. And yeah, other than that, we'll catch you guys next week on live stream, and we'll catch you back in the Discord if you're in there. All right, E. I will see you or talk to you in a little bit.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. See you later, guys.
Later, y'all.
Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him with the brass pig. Let's fucking go. We going out blazing.
Let's get honey.
This is population. About to go big. Kill him with the brass pig. About to go big. Kill him with the brass pig. 24/7 researching, it's all a fantasy. But if I make the right plays, it pays automatically. Bankroll showing that I know it dope strategy. On a winning streak, I'm stacking a dose of the bookies, all get mad at me. Confident with how it plays, not clicking on a flex today. 10 times the money, and we all about to get paid. Arrogant shots on the stream, they be killing it. Never gonna stop it, I like if you feeling it. Digging the players, they all know what time you can't make up your mind, then just go with your gut. Fantasizing, Sasha Cloud. Gabby Williams said, watch your mouth. They 1 and they 2, I play the over, they come through. Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum, pick them both, we stacking them. Going big to the maximum, just push them in, we cashing them. Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him with the brass pig. Let's fucking go. We going out blazing. This is population. About to go big. Kill him with the brass pig. About to go big. Kill him with the brass pigs. We about to go big.
This is the game.